Good morning. I want to start out with a moment of silence for John Tummelson, Navy SEAL from Rockford, Iowa, who died in the helicopter in Afghanistan. As a great American hero. The Navy SEALs are, you know, this was the same unit that actually killed bin Laden. And I think as Americans, we can be very proud of them and very appreciative of their sacrifice. Well, I want to thank you all for being here today. And this morning, the Lieutenant Governor Reynolds and I are proud to announce a new mobile site for the Iowa State Fair. Our office partnered with the Iowa State Fair and with Iowa Interactive to create a mobile site for internet-capable mobile devices. This site will allow more than what we anticipate to be more than 1 million visitors to the Iowa State Fair, the information they need to enjoy all that the Iowa State Fair has to offer, and it has a lot to offer. The site was developed by Iowa Interactive, which also built the governors, lieutenant governors, and also our Special Assistant for Education, Linda Fandel's websites. We'd like to turn the microphone over now to Lieutenant Governor Reynolds to discuss the site's functionality.
Okay, so I don't know if any of you out there have an iPhone or an Android or a tablet or a BlackBerry, but if you do, please take it out now, and we'd like to encourage you to sign in to mobile.iowastatefair.org. Earlier this year, Governor Branstad signed an executive order to really work on web standardization, to set forth a committee to address that. And the committee has met regularly since June, and they're making significant progress. The committee will be making a recommendation in the near future to put sliver headers at the top of all agency websites. We talked about that when we talked about the Web Standardization Committee, and it'll make it easier for Iowans to recognize that they're in a government website. In addition, a new iowa.gov is currently being developed, and new standards for all state websites will be further discussed with the committee. We continue to look for ways that we can utilize technology in making it easier to access government. As Governor Branstad's representative on the Iowa State Fair Board of Directors, I am proud today for fairgoers to launch this new mobile app site. By providing information on the Iowa State Fair's daily activity agenda, the fairground map, attractions, food vendors, it'll have a wealth of information Iowans will have a wealth of information at their fingertips so they'll have more time to enjoy the Iowa State Fair and the entertainment that the fair provides. With the emergence of technology and smartphones and other mobile devices, it only makes sense to provide Iowans with greater tools to interact with one another. This year, for the first time, the Iowa State Fair also has allowed its visitors to print tickets online. So we are proud to announce another new technological breakthrough to help Iowans enjoy the State Fair. And it just goes to show that nothing compares with the Iowa State Fair.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant Governor Reynolds. Now I'd like to turn it over to the team from Iowa Interactive, who did a wonderful job of building this site.
Thank you, Governor. Well, can you smell the corn dogs? Can you see that pork chop on a stick? I know, I can't believe that it's already here. And we are delighted to have been asked to partner with the State Fair to provide their mobile website. I'm going to do a quick demo, but for those of you that are here, please play with it. And if you're like me, you'll go home and tell your kids about it. So the one thing that we wanted to make sure is that you don't leave the State Fair and show up to the office the next day and be talking about what you did and have somebody share something with you that you think, wow, I didn't know that was there, or wow, I would have loved to have done that. Well, guess what? You can find out at the touch of a fingertip everything that's available at the State Fair. As you can see, we have very friendly icons that are big and easy to use on your phone. You can organize your event schedule by time, by name of the event, the location, and all of that information is there. And every day, within an hour after that event has started, those items will drop off so that you see the most recent and current information. We also have the entertainment listing, and it's organized by grandstand, and you can find out what's going on in the grandstand, the price of tickets, who's going to be there. You can go to the free stage and see what's there, and again, organize it by time, by name, location, or ground attractions. And everything then is mapped to a map, and you can see here that when you click on the location, the map icon is identified very quickly. We have food, as Lieutenant Governor said, very important. New additions, healthy choices, which I seem to glaze right over and go straight to the food on a stick. And amazingly enough, this year there are 60 items, so you have to go more than one day to be able to take care of try every single one of those items. We also have the general information so that you can find out about ticket information, hours, where is DART, when is DART running, and where can you pick it up. You can also find out State Fair trivia, which actually there is an amazing wealth of trivia right here at your fingertips. I learn something new every time I click through the website. Another thing that's really important is finding your way around the fair and being able to make sure that you find the location you need. And so there is a map at your fingertips, and if you scroll down to the bottom, everything is numbered and the legend is right there for you to be able to see. We also have the ever important social media. So when you are at the fair, you can tweet your friends and let them know where you are. Check in at Foursquare. Let Facebook know exactly where you are. Upload those photographs on your Facebook page. And if you see something fabulous, do the video and upload it to YouTube. Now, to end, I'm going to leave a little bit of suspense and hope that you will go to the website. We do also have a YouTube link to the governor's welcome address, and I'm not going to pull that up because we want you to not only go and see that, but also go check out the fair, the fair website. Make sure that you take your phone, load it in there, mark it mobile.iowastatefair.org.
Okay, do you have questions? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm Tracy Smith, and I'm the president and general manager of Iowa Interactive.
Tracy, thank you, and we look forward to seeing all of you at the Iowa State Fair. Are there questions on this? Well, first of all, we have all kinds of confidence that the security will be well handled at the Iowa State Fair. As you know, the patrol is very involved in that, as well as local law enforcement, and they have, I think they've got a good plan and strategy to make sure that it's going to be a safe and good experience for people to go to the Iowa State Fair. And by the way, I have been to the Wisconsin State Fair. I was there at about 10 o'clock at night when Tommy Thompson was the governor, and he was still working, doing an auction for the Wisconsin State Fair. So that's actually in Madison. That's not in Madison. It's in Milwaukee, is where they have their state fair. Well, I think right.
So you can track that.
Other questions on this? Okay, we'll be glad to answer your questions on other subjects as well this morning. I intend to. I have not yet, but I'm getting their phone number, and I intend to call them. It is my policy, whether they're Iowa National Guard or regular military, in this case, Navy SEAL, it is my policy to call each of the families whenever we have a casualty from the state of Iowa. Well, first of all, I have great confidence in the department and in Teresa Whaler. She put together a really a thoughtful plan to actually improve the delivery of services using technology, just as we're talking about using technology for the state fair, uh, and also utilizing the groups like the National Guard, the community colleges, and the local libraries to provide these services. Remember, many of these offices that are being closed were part-time offices that were only where we only had staff there a couple days a week. We're actually now offering longer hours and more opportunity, and we think that we can provide better services. Actually, the Des Moines Register printed an editorial pointing out that we actually have a lot more offices than they have in the state of Florida, which has a lot more people that we do in the state of Iowa and a much higher unemployment than we have. I want to make sure that we're doing all we can to make sure that people know the job opportunities that are there, and we're working very aggressively to attract new business and jobs. I just came back from spending 2 days in Chicago calling on businesses that have already invested in Iowa and other prospects, and we're very encouraged about what's going on there, and I believe that we're going to see some good things come out of that. And we also, last week, the Lieutenant Governor and I and Debbie Durham were in Eddyville, Iowa, where they have over 700 people working in that biosciences complex, Cargill, Ajinomoto, Vacher, and over 200. In addition to those 700 jobs, there's over 250 in construction, and that's just on an ongoing basis. The mayor of Eddyville was telling me he has a construction business for the last 20-some years. He's been working on that site and has over 70 people employed himself, but there's over 250 presently. And of course, Cargill is intending to do a similar thing in Fort Dodge, as they have also in Blair, Nebraska. And there's many other opportunities in this biosciences to grow jobs like that. We want to make sure that people are aware of those opportunities. And I believe the new approach that's being used, and I intend to visit some of the sites in the weeks and months ahead to make sure that indeed the services are being provided in a good and thoughtful way. We can't the old way that things were being done in just having these part-time offices really wasn't that effective, and it was also very expensive, and there wasn't enough because of cutbacks in federal money. The legislature didn't provide enough money. So I think this new approach, which the department has come up with, has the potential, I think, to be more effective. Yes, this started in February, and you may recall it was resisted by some legislators, but it was openly presented to legislators in February by Teresa Whalert. And she has gone all over the state, in fact, and we have responded to some of the concerns. For instance, I was down in Lee County. They have the highest unemployment in the state. We did keep one of those offices open in Lee County to respond to the concerns they had there. I think in Webster City, where they lost the Electrolux plant, that office was retained with federal dollars. But we're also trying to do this in a very thoughtful way that's going to really expand the access points, and we do have the 16 one-stop shop regional offices all over the state of Iowa that have been a dramatic improvement from the way things have been done in the past. Well, this is politics. We understand that there's some politics that have been played on this issue, but the fact of the matter is, I think I have confidence in Teresa Whalert and the department in terms of providing the services and doing them in an efficient and economical way, in one that's going to help us in terms of make sure that people know what jobs are available where. Well, first of all, let me just say, I think the straw poll, first of all, I've seen over the years the changes that have been made. You have to be an Iowan, and you have to show an Iowa ID in order to vote in the straw poll. That's even more strict than voting in Iowa. And so I think it's certainly designed to be a fair, objective deal. Now remember, it's not scientific, and you have to go to Ames, and it costs $30 to participate, but it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of food and a lot of vendors and a lot of excitement. It's not quite like the state fair, but it's got some aspects like that.
I don't know how many items are on a stick, but you know.
But it's, and I'm going to go to both, by the way. I've got the Lieutenant Governor and I are both participating in the Governor's Charity Steer Show, but we're going to go and participate in the straw poll. And I think the straw poll is an important first test, and it isn't. It's not just who wins it; it's who beats expectations. Remember 4 years ago, Huckabee beat expectations. A lot of people thought Brownback would. He beat Brownback, and Brownback eventually dropped out, and Huckabee went on then to beat the winner of the straw poll was Governor Romney, who lost then in the Iowa caucuses to Huckabee. This time, Romney's got a little different strategy. He's not participating in any straw polls, maybe because of the experience he had 4 years ago. I'm not sure. I mean, but it's an expectation game, and so it's not only who wins, but who beats expectations. I think you need to look at and recognize that just because you win the straw poll isn't an assurance that you're going to win the Iowa caucuses. This is just a first step, but you know, there's going to be tremendous media coverage nationally and internationally. It'll be a real boost for those people that beat expectations. So I think, and I've said, I think it's a mistake not to participate, and I'm hopeful we'll see a lot of people get involved, and this is Iowans' opportunity, and it's limited just to Iowans, to have I think a significant influence on the beginning of this presidential nomination process. And it's a critical time in American history. I think a lot of Americans are very concerned about the direction of this country and feel that we need to get the debt under control. We need to focus on jobs, and so what happens here, I think, could be very important. Sure. It's you know,
Another one of those best kept secrets.
right. You know, and it is a secret ballot, and we're going to keep it secret. But part of the reason I think for that is I want to encourage all of the candidates. I want to encourage them all to participate, and I'm trying to do all I can to encourage the candidates and their supporters to actively campaign in Iowa, and you know, spend money in here. It helps the state's economy, and so I think it's a positive thing. And I think Iowans also are very thoughtful and take this responsibility very seriously. You know, that's been tried from time to time, and you know what happened 4 years ago. A lot of independents and even some Republicans actually got involved, and that actually helped Obama beat Hillary Clinton and guess what? They ended up getting Obama for president. Now some of those people are having second thoughts about it. But the Iowa system is very open. If people choose to register Republican, they can participate. And I'm hopeful that a lot of independents, even some Democrats, will decide for the right reason to participate and help us choose the strongest possible candidate. Instead of playing the political game of, we ought to look at who can be the best and strongest candidate. And I think both parties should have the right to choose who they think would be their strongest candidate, and let the American people decide who they think is the right leader for the future. I'm not going to. Well, first of all, say it's a wide open situation. As you know, last time Governor Romney won the straw poll and Huckabee won the caucuses. Huckabee has decided not to run this time. Romney's not participating in the straw poll. He is participating in the debate, and he is participating in the caucuses. So I think it's a very wide open situation, and it all depends upon who shows up. But, I think Ron Paul's making a strong effort here. I think you can see that Michelle Bachmann's making a strong effort. I think that Governor Plenty may well exceed expectations because he's been putting a strong effort in and build a good organization. But Rick Santorum has got a real passion, and I saw him and his wife and several of his children over the weekend. I've been impressed with Herman Cain. Also, Newt Gingrich is actively campaigning here. I mean, so you've got a wide open field. There's a lot of candidates, and I think hopefully we'll see a good turnout. And then I guess we'll let the results speak for themselves. But at this point, I'm not going to try to prognosticate because, frankly, it's going to be up to the voters to make that decision. Well, I think Governor Perry has the potential to be a fairly strong candidate. He has got a following among both social and economic conservatives. His state has led the nation in terms of job growth, so he's got a real message. He came from an agricultural background. I think he was the Commissioner of Agriculture before he was Lieutenant Governor and Governor. He's the longest serving governor and the last Texas governor to compete. Won not only the straw poll, but the caucus and was elected president. So, the other hand, I told him if he wants to do well in Iowa, he better come here and spend a lot of time and go to all over the state of Iowa if he wants to do well. So we'll see what happens. I know that he's not on the ballot, but some people are trying to mount a write-in campaign for him, and I would not be surprised before this month is over that you will see him in Iowa actively campaigning. Right. Well, because this is part of our effort to really get a bipartisan approach towards dealing with the entire property tax system. And I felt that this was something that, and I vetoed that earlier as well for the same reason. And when the other effort to get the more commercial, to reduce the commercial and industrial property tax, to limit property taxes for ag and residential, when the legislature failed to act on that, I thought it was appropriate that this be vetoed so that that could be looked at as part of the whole mix. Well, the other ones didn't amount to much, and this one has significant implications. Well, IPERS is affected by the market, and what happens in the marketplace is, that's going to be determined by the investors and what they decide to do. But I don't think it should be a surprise to anybody that this would happen in light of the fact that they've been saying that there's too much debt and that they need to reduce the federal debt. I mean, I've said that. When you increase the national debt $1.6, $1.5 trillion a year after year, and 40 cents of every dollar you're spending is borrowed money, it's pretty clear that the country's going the wrong direction and that we've got too much debt and that this deficit is not sustainable. And what's happened is they've created a new Obama health care entitlement that's unaffordable and unsustainable, and the costs of that are already exceeding expectations, and many companies are bailing out of providing health insurance for their employees as a result of it. Medicare and Medicaid, according to USA Today, is going up 11 and 12% a year. Now, the economy is growing only 2%, and even after the agreement they reached to extend the debt, to increase the debt limit, and the modest reduction in spending that's involved in that, mainly is what they call federal discretionary spending, not entitlements. The really thing that's driving this huge increase in the national debt is the explosive increase in entitlements. And unless those are addressed, we're headed for big trouble. And they just need to be addressed. And they're not easy. And so far the administration has not been willing to do that. But I think that's going to be absolutely critical. Otherwise, well, you see what's happening in Europe. The latest is Italy, but it's been Greece and frankly even places like Britain and Ireland and Portugal and now Italy, and we have to get. Interestingly enough, I'm on my calls in Chicago. I called on a company that told me they're looking at, they liked our presentation and what we're doing in Iowa and the prospects for Iowa, but the federal corporate income tax is so high that they're thinking about moving to Canada. Now, when I was governor before, the Canadian dollar was weak and Canada wasn't competitive with us. But Canada has now reduced its corporate income tax and gotten its fiscal house somewhat in order. Their corporate income tax, I think, is only about 15%. We're much higher than that. And so one of the big impediments we have as a state is this hugely uncompetitive federal corporate income tax. And by the way, Simpson-Bowles, which was the bipartisan group that President Obama appointed, one of their recommendations in dealing with the deficit was to reduce the corporate income tax at the federal level. It is extremely high compared to other states, and there's also a penalty for bringing profit back to America. So companies that are involved in this can invest in foreign countries with their profits, but they can't bring it back and invest in America. It's a bad policy. It needs to change. And that is probably one of the biggest impediments, I think, to economic growth in America right now. I also watched some of the testimony before Senator Baucus's committee, the Senate Finance Committee, from business executives from all kinds of different industry, and they were virtually unanimous in saying this is a huge impediment, needs to be addressed. It hasn't been addressed, and I think that's one of the things that's holding us back. State by state, we're trying to do all we can to reduce the tax and regulatory burden to attract the business and jobs we need, but when I have companies tell me that we're not competitive with Canada, I get concerned.